Johnny Mac, the late night host, had some fun with this notion that President Trump will refuse to pay Rudy Giuliani his day rate of $20,000. Seth Myers said, "This is like the end of The Sixth Sense. Spoilers coming up." But instead of Bruce Willis realizing he's been dead the whole time, it's Donald Trump realizing that Rudy has the whole time been a bad lawyer. Seth, again, impeachment was great, but there really is no more perfect way for this to end than Trump stiffing Rudy. Guy spent all that time flying to state capitals, rounding up witnesses from the bars at TGI Fridays and Buffalo Wild Wings, and now Trump won't even reimburse him. He did a Trump imitation saying, "So, you owe me for the time I called you into the hearing. It went over on minutes because, Rudy, you're not friends and you're not family, so those minutes are costly." Seth Myers, "Poor Rudy needed the money for the hair transplant." Jimmy Kimmel, "Trump doesn't want to pay that. He could have hired Gary Busey for $100 to do the same thing." Colbert, "Sucks for Giuliani. Now he's going to have to make money on the side, bottling Uncle Rudy's original skull syrup." Yuck. Colbert, "I can understand wanting to take a closer look at Rudy's expensive, given that so far he's submitted receipts for Delta Business Class brand plastic bottle vodka, Uber XL t-shirt that I slept in behind the racetrack, and pay-per-view porn. Oops, all cousins." Oh, wow. Wow. Look that one up. Giuliani cousin. Just Google it. Kimmel, "They say Trump isn't even taking Rudy's calls anymore. Now the only way for Rudy to get through is if someone says his name 3 times in a mirror." Kimmel, "I wonder who leaked the story. Maybe it was Giuliani's head." Kimmel, "But this is what Trump does. Even if you don't jump ship, sooner or later he'll throw you off it." Fallon, "These two were inseparable. Now it's come to this. It feels like Dr. Frankenstein breaking up with Igor." Corden, "And you know Trump's upset when he's starting to make careful decisions with his money." And Corden, "This is like the end of Jurassic Park when the Raptors and the T-Rex just turn on each other at the end." Corden, "Trump says he's only ready to pay for 2 seasons worth of total landscaping." Fallon, "Rudy seemed blindsided by the decision, although when hair dye is constantly leaking into your eyes, it's hard to see anything coming." Fallon, "I can't wait until this somehow ends with Trump hiring Rudy Giuliani to sue Rudy Giuliani." Fallon, "That's great. The president spending his last days in office going over receipts like he's Janice from accounting. Did you stay 2 nights at the 4 Seasons Total Landscaping? We're not paying for that. That's not a hotel." Fallon, "Even if Trump doesn't pay him back, at least Rudy racked up a ton of frequent liar miles." Vulture wrote a long piece on late night and where late night goes from here. They remind us the combination of Jimmy Fallon playfully tussling Trump's hair and Stephen Colbert deciding around the same time to go all out on criticizing the future president roughly coincided with Colbert's transformation into our era's king of late night. Yeah, remember that? Like, Fallon was kind of cooking. Everybody was like, "Oh, Jimmy Fallon's show is so much fun because John Hamm comes on and plays, like, board games." Like, that was a thing. And then all of a sudden, everything changed. Vulture, "Colbert's laser focus on calling out Trump resulted in a massive influx of new fans. Late Show struggled to reach 3 million viewers most nights before Trump was elected, but after the inauguration, it would get 4 million nightly viewers." Vulture wonders if the bubble is about to burst, but writes that the good news for Colbert is the past 4 years gave him a much bigger base, in theory making a soft ratings landing possible. His Late Show's currently averaging a bit more than 3 million viewers. By contrast, Fallon is averaging a tad more than 1.5 million viewers, less than half his audience pre-Trump. Wow. Let me see what Conan's ratings were. Remember when they hooked Conan kind of quickly? Conan ratings, Tonight Show. According to the Wikipedia, in the 18 to 49 demographic, Conan drew a 2.5 rating and 3.285 million viewers. It was watched by 2.4 million viewers in the 18 to 34 demographic. Might have hooked that one a little quick there. I mean, I like Fallon, but I like Conan more. Variety has some suggestions for how things could go in the future. They bring up the idea of running these things earlier. Remember they tried Jay Leno at 10 o'clock? I don't think that was a bad idea. I don't think they gave that enough time. And especially now, when you can't really film stuff, the COVID, I bet they wish they had Jay Leno on at 10 o'clock every night just to fill the slots. Vulture says, "I don't think airing Fallon, Kimmel, or Colbert at 10 or even 8 is going to miraculously result in millions of new viewers, but it could raise the show's profiles and make it easier to snag some of the over 50s who still watch live TV, but simply aren't going to stay up past 11 p.m. for a comedy show." I have my hand raised as I read that sentence. Plus, networks have already ceded big parts of their primetime lineups to game shows and reality series, so it's not like devoting 4 or 5 weekly hours of prime time to something like a Leno. is going to make it more difficult to find new scripted hits. And if a network decided to go bold and air a current late night show at 8, it might even make it possible to do the show live, adding more energy and relevancy. I love all those ideas. I don't program a television network, but, you know, I'm not tuning into ABC to watch Card Sharks, guys. Maybe if Kimmel were on, maybe I'd check it out, especially if there were a live buzz on it. I think it's a good thought. Vulture also writes, I think networks need to find a way to ensure audiences in the western half of the country can watch late night shows the same time they air on the East Coast. NBC already does this with SNL, but there's zero reason in 2021 that Colbert or Fallon or Kimmel shouldn't stream live the same time they air on TV on the East Coast. Local affiliates will complain, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'm all in favor of it, but, you know, how come I have to stay up till 11:30 and Joe Los Angeles gets to watch at 8:30? Show these things at 8:30. Vulture also writes, full episodes need to be widely accessible and, more importantly, monetizable on as many platforms as possible. That also goes for things like Sam B or The Daily Show. You can watch entire episodes of those programs for free on YouTube, so why not also make them available on HBO Max or Paramount Plus or Pluto or something? You know, if I sat down at 8:27 on a weeknight and you said The Daily Show was there and Netflix put it right in front of me and it was today's Daily Show, I'd probably watch it. I'm not staying up till 11 and I'm not taping it and watching the next day. But for that spontaneous, like, oh, this just got published, yeah, I'll check that out, that might actually work. A lot of good thoughts from Vulture there. Did you watch The Mandalorian? You know who was great on it was Bill Burr. He's a comedian, so that's why we'll talk about Star Wars here. From Inside the Magic, Bill Burr is sick and tired of people giving him crap because his Star Wars character has a Boston accent. Burr was on with Jimmy Fallon and said, what about English? Isn't that a little weird? If you went to a galaxy far, far away and you get off and somebody's like, hey, how's it going? And you totally understand them? How about C-3PO with an English accent? That was all right. The guy's been knighted. He just played Royal Albert Hall. Now he's hanging out with Luke Skywalker? What about the fact that Han Solo's talking to a Bigfoot? He's speaking Bigfoot. Han Solo's speaking English. They never break character, but one keeps going. Bill Burr was so fantastic on that show. And Joe List predicts what he will see for comedy. He says, a massive explosion of the best comedy we've ever seen of all time ever. Not for me, because I haven't written a joke in 10 months and I've only done 11 sets because it was cold outside. But somebody is going to be really funny soon. And I'm going to go into accounting or something like that, so stay tuned. That is your comedy news for today. You can follow the podcast on Spotify or subscribe on Overcast or Apple Podcasts. Hey, wherever you get your shows, I thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.